Hi, I'm the narrator. I'm here to provide facts about Ella McCay. I've worked for her ever since she finished law school, so I'm not exactly neutral. I'm nuts about her.
James L. Brooks is 85 years old and just made a movie that feels like it time travelled from 2004. It's about a 34-year-old lieutenant governor who becomes the youngest governor of her state, deals with her philandering father, supports her agoraphobic brother, and tries to hold her marriage together. It's set in 2008 for no clear reason. The plot is a mess, the structure is baffling, and somehow buried in all that chaos, there are moments so good you remember why mid-budget adult dramas used to matter. Alright, welcome back. Today we're talking about Ella McCay, James L. Brooks' latest film starring Emma Mackey as a young politician navigating family trauma and political ambition. I just watched this and I'm conflicted. It's the kind of movie I desperately want to exist, smart and sentimental about ordinary people, but it's also deeply flawed in ways that keep tripping over itself. Let's get into it. If you're into messy but heartfelt dramedies, hit subscribe. We break down films that swing for the fences even when they miss. Here's what Ella McCay is trying to be: a light-hearted but realistic portrait of a woman who overcame family shame and maternal trauma to become one of the youngest political fixtures in her state. Emma Mackey plays Ella, whose father Eddie, played by Woody Harrelson, was a philanderer who got fired for sleeping with his staff. Her mother, played too briefly by Rebecca Hall, died young. Ella stayed with her aunt Helen, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, hamming it up beautifully. While her younger brother Casey went to military boarding school, she married her high school boyfriend Ryan, a pizza restaurant guy, and she became lieutenant governor at 34. The film is narrated by Estelle, Ella's secretary, played by Julie Kavner, who tells us this is the story of the remarkable Ella McCay. But that narrative spine frays immediately into disconnected tangents. The rhythm is jarring. Every scene tries to tie itself into a sweet bow, regardless of whether it makes sense with what came before. It's transfixing to watch something so oddly constructed, but also deeply disappointing, because you can feel the better movie trapped inside it. Brooks sets it in 2008, which frees the story from today's angry political divisions, but makes it feel quaint and musty. It's closer to Mr. Smith Goes to Washington than anything from this century. There's no Twitter, no Trump, just policy, wonky dealism, and bipartisan civility, and that choice undercuts the film's relevance. Why 2008? The film never justifies it beyond convenience. It feels arbitrary, like Brooks wanted to avoid modern politics without figuring out what setting it in the past actually adds. The plot, such as it is, Governor Bill, played by Albert Brooks, dispensing political wisdom like you have to make dumb people feel less dumb, leaves for the Obama administration. Ella becomes governor. She immediately faces crises. Minor infractions about state property use become fuel for opponents. Her father shows up not because he's sorry, but because his new girlfriend demands he reconcile with his kids. And her husband Ryan, supportive until suddenly he isn't, starts undermining her for reasons the film never explains. I have to assume there were 45 minutes cut that made any of this coherent. The film's mosaic of characters includes Jack Lowden as Ryan, whose arc makes zero sense, Kumail Nanjiani as Trooper Nash, a friendly state trooper who might as well be named quippy side character, Spike Fearn as Casey, Ella's agoraphobic quant brother who insists he's not afraid to leave his apartment, he just chooses not to, and Ayo Edebiri as Susan, Casey's ex-girlfriend, playing a classic awkward Edebiri character who in any other movie would be cut for time. Here, she's one of the best parts. Emma Mackey tries valiantly to hold this together. She plays both 34-year-old governor and 16-year-old high school senior in flashbacks, which is a tall order. There's a moment late in the film where she delivers a cannabis-inflected rant, a too brief window into the frantic inner monologue of a woman with a lot of liberal policy ideas. Her eyes light up. You see the movie This Could Have Been, but she can't sell a heroine whose defining traits are wonkishness and reactivity. The character is underwritten, constantly responding to external forces instead of driving the story herself. The best scenes involve Ella and Casey. Their sibling dynamic is tender and real. They respect each other's differences and limits. Her need to fix everything, his need not to be fixed. I've decided not to be normal, pick something easier, he tells her. She encourages him to reach out to Susan and he leaves his apartment to try. These moments work because they're specific and lived in. Spike Fearn gives a terrific performance as someone brilliant but vulnerable, and Edebiri makes Susan confused but captivatingly warm. The film's point, you don't have to fit a narrow idea of normal to be seen and loved, lands in these scenes. But the political side is undercooked. The film insists Ella is remarkable, highly intelligent, deeply moral, but we mostly see her reacting. We don't see her governing. We don't see her policy ideas beyond vague liberal sentiment. The movie tells us she's too honest and uncompromising to win an election, but it never shows us what that looks like beyond minor scandals about state property. It's a political movie afraid to actually engage with politics, and the structure is baffling. The film stumbles through its story like it's rummaging through a teenager's messy room, pulling and replacing random objects. It's never a good sign when the lead character reads the literal dictionary definition of trauma, finger tracing the page in the first 5 minutes. That's Screenwriting 101 show. Don't tell. Brooks, who wrote broadcast news in Terms of Endearment, knows this. So why does Ella McCay feel like a first draft? The ending is abrupt and unearned. Ella faces a choice between her morals and her marriage, and there's a flicker of something tough, contradictory, ineffable feelings. A hint of a better, thornier movie, then it just ends. No resolution, no catharsis, just a hard cut. It feels like Brooks ran out of time or couldn't figure out how to land it. Either way, it's frustrating. Here's the tragedy. I miss these movies. Mid-budget adult dramas about ordinary people in non-IP circumstances used to fill theatres in the 90s and 2000s. Now they go straight to streaming or don't get made at all. The promotional image of Emma Mackey in a sensible trench coat balancing on one foot, fixing a broken heel, recalls films like Confessions of a Shopaholic or Little Miss Sunshine. Those weren't masterpieces, but they existed. They gave us smart, sentimental popcorn fare about people we recognised. Ella McCay wants to be that, and we need that. But wanting isn't enough. James L. Brooks has an incredible legacy. The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Taxi, The Simpsons, Terms of Endearment, broadcast news, as good as it gets. He loves stories about complicated women with messy lives. His characters are more successful professionally than romantically, and they talk in sharp, witty dialogue. Most filmmakers forgot how to write. Ella McCay has flashes of that Brooks magic. The optimism, the bright dialogue, the endearing performances, but it doesn't hold together as a whole. It's a movie of moments, and some of those moments are genuinely good. Jamie Lee Curtis living her best life, expanding her range with every performance. Julie Kavner's warm narration. Ayo Edebiri making a small part feel essential. The tenderness between Ella and Casey. Mackey's cannabis rant. These are reasons to watch, but they're islands in a sea of incoherence. You're constantly wishing the film around them was as good as they are. Should you watch it? If you're a James L. Brooks completist, yes. If you miss mid-budget dramedies and want to support their continued existence, maybe. If you love Emma Mackey or Ayo Edebiri and want to see them do good work in limited screen time, sure. But if you need a coherent plot or earned emotional beats, this will frustrate you. It's messy, and unlike its heroine, its strengths don't quite make up for the mess. Ella McCay feels like a relic, not just because it's set in 2008, but because it represents a type of filmmaking Hollywood mostly abandoned. These movies used to be everywhere, smart enough to respect your intelligence, sentimental enough to make you feel something about people navigating careers and relationships without superpowers or franchises. I want more of them. I want them to exist and thrive, but I also want them to be better than this, because audiences deserve the full version of what Ella McCay is hinting at, not the compromised, incoherent draft we got. Thanks for watching. If you're tired of franchises and want more films about real people, let me know in the comments what mid-budget dramas you miss. See you in the next one.